What's up, UFC fans? How you guys been? Are you psyched for UFC 158, George St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz? Do you think that George is just going to throw Nick Diaz up and down the ring, or that Nick Diaz is going to be able to pull out a submission or really confuse GSP standing up? Anyway, your guess is mine, but I'm feeling GSP on this fight. I think that Nick's not going to be able to stand the takedowns. I think he's going to be fighting from his back, and I can just see Nick on his back doing little slaps and little kicks. Anyway, who knows with that fight? But Carlos Condit's taking on Johny Hendricks. And Carlos just put on one of the best showings versus George St. Pierre without the Matt Serra fight included. But it was a real good fight. The last fight, UFC 154. I remember he kicked GSP in the head, and GSP almost looked like he lost it. But anyway, GSP really took care of Carlos Condit throughout the whole fight, beat him. And Carlos is stepping in against Johny Hendricks. And Johnny just had a vicious knockout over Martin Kampmann, put him flat in 46 seconds, and beat Josh Koscheck, who also just lost his last fight. Beat John Finch, Mike Pierce, everyone says tough opponent. And he's had more wins in UFC. I don't want to get into all of them. Only losses to Rick Story. And I think he's going to do it. I think he does have the knockout ability. Carlos Condit's going to be the skinny guy, like Carlos said. And Johny Hendricks, 5'9". Okay, he's got the wrestling ability. He's 5'9", taking on Carlos Condit, 6'1". So he's got a lower center of gravity. He's going to be able to take Carlos down. And I don't think he's even going to want to take Carlos down. I think he's just going to go straight for the knockout. And Carlos does have some good stand-up, but the power is not there compared to Johny Hendricks. Carlos does have 13 knockouts in his career, and last one he knocked out Dong Hyun Kim and Dan Hardy in UFC. Also all kind of a knockout against Roy McDonald, but really knocked out Dan Hardy and Dong Hyun Kim. So you see what he can do, but he wasn't facing a guy like Dan Hardy compared to Johny Hendricks. Dan Hardy doesn't have the knockout power that Johny Hendricks has. And Dan Hardy's not going to take you down like Johny Hendricks is going to do. So I have to go with Johny Hendricks all the way. I really hope Carlos doesn't win this fight. And not that I have anything against Carlos, but I want to see a good #1 contender. And I really hope that Johnny has what it takes. I think he has what it takes. And we'll get to see that this Saturday night. Yeah, I just really can't see how Carlos Condit can win the fight. What do you guys think? Do you think Carlos, is going to win the fight? You think he's just more experienced than Johny Hendricks? Been through more fights? Do you think he's going to tire Johny Hendricks out and do something in the third round maybe? Or what do you think? Do you think he's going to win a decision? Let me know what you think. Everyone's saying Johny Hendricks is going to win. Johny Hendricks is going to win. I'm going with Johny Hendricks. But, there's a good chance Carlos Condit can win. He has 13 knockouts, 13 submissions, and his 28 wins. And only 2 decisions. So, Carlos comes to fight time and time again. And he was champion of WEC, won all those fights over there. So, he's no slouch, Carlos Condit. And he's in his prime. He's 28 years old. So, of course, Carlos can win this fight. So, let's see what happens Saturday night. Thanks, guys.